Welcome back. More than 6.5 million people in the U.S. are living with Alzheimer's. It's a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior. Here in Michigan, there were 190,000 people 65 years and older living with the disease in 2020. That number is expected to jump to 220,000 by 2025. To kick off our Alzheimer's Awareness Month coverage, Kate Pierce and George Pitchford are joining us from the Alzheimer's Association Michigan chapter. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's first talk about what Alzheimer's is and how it can impact lives. Kate.
Sure. Well, Alzheimer's is the most common type of dementia. More than 70% or about 70% of dementias are Alzheimer's disease. And it's a brain disorder that can affect everything that your brain's in charge of. So thinking, memory, and ultimately walking, talking, chewing, and swallowing. So it can be devastating for families that are affected by it.
And what are some warning signs that people can look out for?
Sure. Well, we know that there's always some slight changes in memory as we age, maybe some slowing of thinking, but things when you can't remember, so not, oh, I misplaced my keys, but I misplaced them and I found them in the freezer, for example, it would certainly be concerning. Difficulties with doing normal things, activities of daily living, even mood changes can be a sign of Alzheimer's.
And how do you screen for this?
Well, the first step is always to talk to your doctor. Let them know that you're experiencing changes, and they can decide what the next best course of action is, whether that's screening right there in your primary care or referring you to a specialist.
Yes, and of course, taking care of someone with Alzheimer's is a challenging role. Here in Michigan just last year, there were 380,000 unpaid caregivers. The Alzheimer's Association says these caregivers are providing 872 million hours of unpaid care. That's the highest average number of hours of care per caregiver in the country. And George is with us. You're a caregiver yourself. Tell us about the experience you go through.
Yes, I was a caregiver. I was a caregiver for my wife, Betty, who was diagnosed in 2013, but she passed in 2020. We went through the full gamut of taking care of her for many, many years, and then placing her in a nursing home, and there's still support that you must be prepared to give then. So it was a long and trying kind of thing, but I was reinforced and felt like this was something good to do, because I know that if I had been in the same position, she would have done it for me.
She would have done the same for you. And it's never a guarantee in terms of time. That's the other thing with Alzheimer's. You don't know how long of a road is ahead of you when you're diagnosed.
Yeah, this is true, and it would seem that every situation is quite different. I spent a lot of sessions, and thank God really for the Alzheimer's Association. I spent a number of sessions in support groups and learned so much that all of our situations are different, and learned so much about how I had to come to where my wife was. She no longer was able to handle logic in the same way that she used to. The wonderful person that she had been for some 50 years was sort of still there, but not quite. And so it was a difficult kind of task, but it was very helpful that I could get support from places like the Alzheimer's Association.
And taxing on your health as well.
I'm sorry?
And taxing on your health as well as a caregiver.
Oh yeah, and you read the statistics that often the caregiver dies before the patient because of that taxing on your health and your time and particularly, I guess, if you don't have the wherewithal to handle it properly, if you let it wear you down, you really need some kind of a motivating feeling to approach each day that we can get through this. And it was the support groups and things like that that made it much more manageable.
Well, thank you, George and Kate, for being here to tell us more about it. We appreciate your time and
Thank you.
raising awareness about this.